Hello and a very warm welcome to yet another episode of the We Talk Talent series. Those who have been following us know that the We Talk Talent series is an initiative especially curated by the Economic Times HR World to unveil the latest trends surrounding the human capital management space. Today, for this episode, we have Mr. Priyank Parekh, Human Resource Director, GSK Consumer Healthcare India. Priyank brings with him over 19 years of rich human resource management experience. Currently, as the Human Resource Director at GSK, Priyank is responsible to lead people and culture agenda for the Indian subcontinent area. Prior to GSK, Priyank worked at Takeda Shire, where he was head HR for India. He successfully led spin-off of Baxter into Bexelta, followed by acquisition Shire and Takeda in India. He was instrumental in building and establishing the new enterprise, employer brand, and culture at the Takeda Shire. Priyank carries a unique mix of experience in Indian, American, European, and Japanese MNCs in high-impact leadership roles in business partnership, talent management, and development. He brings with him vast experience of managing organizational transition through change and building high-performing teams. He believes change is the only constant and enjoys leading the change. Priyank is passionate about building great place to work where people love to work each day and also love making people successful and enjoys coaching in both professional and personal capacity. Welcome, Priyank.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Priya.
So, since there has been a lot of disruption that is currently going on in the industry amid the pandemic that's still going on and the technology that is so rapidly changing nowadays, with that, I would like to ask you to share a brief overview of the disruption and transformation in your industry.
Sure, Priya. So, I think nobody is untouched by pandemic, right? So, good old days, people used to talk in different streams. If you don't have this experience, you have really not built your career. And I think in future people will say that if you've not handled a situation like pandemic, how have you handled your career in HR? So I think it was unique. It was unprecedented. We didn't have a ready-made solution for it in theory or in practice. And that's what it brought to us as an absolute surprise as a part of the VUCA world. So with that, I think on one side, it threw a lot of challenges, but on the other side, it also built a lot of opportunities and creativity to solve for the problem which we've got as human beings and as humanity. And most importantly, it was not unique for any one of us, but entire globe was dealing with it. So it also brought up a lot of empathy, within the whole system. So with that, I think, there was an external situation, but there were a lot of firsts which we saw when it came to leverage the situation. So, from business side, we were very clear, how do we bring right solutions to our consumers? And do not stop that, because we support their everyday health. And that is where we went digital. We did a lot of digital innovations and continued that digital communication with our consumers. And so as from an employee side, we really leveraged digital platforms, all of these virtual meetings. I think we significantly evolved our virtual interactions. Yeah, we started coming on video. We started being present. We started learning to interact with people virtually, and really breached the gap of physical conversation. And the first and foremost piece, Priya, was employees' health, well-being, and safety. And that was the paramount thing which we wanted to take care of. So whether all the initiatives which were needed, along with that, how do we digitally interface that through our Healthy Life app, which can ensure right advice during the pandemic. And also as pandemic continued and brought multiple challenges, it also helped us on personalized health, well-being, emotional and mental health, physical health, from step challenge to mood tracking, to nutrition tracking and so on and so forth. So that was, a very, very important and big pillar. The other pillar was how do we continue the learning? Because we have always been a learning organization. So how do we continue to build learning through our digital and virtual learning platform? We didn't want to stop that. And in some or the other way, we started virtual learning journeys, learning programs, and we did a lot of work around strengthening people's learning in all areas, including field force, for instance, which was not easy because those were the folks who were sitting at home for the first ever time in their lives and careers. To hold them and to engage with them, it required a lot of work around that. So, with that learning, we also brought them back to their HCPs, which are healthcare professionals, who we detail our products to. And that also started happening with those doctors significantly better than expected. In fact, I would say that it was better than some of the physical meetings, because there we always had paucity of time. Here, it was a much better FaceTime with the relevant set of stakeholders and much meaningful conversation. So we are absolutely keen to continue with some of those learning. So this is long and short of what pandemic brought, and we thought we could do to manage our business as well as employee well-being.
Yeah, and I totally agree with your line that you mentioned. If you, being in HR, you haven't been through pandemic, then what have you learned? Really, that has been a life-changing and altering experience for all of us, and it has given us a lot of new learnings and what are the new demands and challenges that organizations are facing nowadays. So with that, I would like to ask you my second question. So how has your hiring strategy has changed concerning the sourcing, selection, and pipeline management post the pandemic?
Hiring, or I would say right talent attraction and engagement, has always been paramount to GSK, because we firmly believe in people as an asset and people as the key differentiator, for the way we operate our business, because we are in a business of consumer healthcare products. So that remained as the paramount important factor for us. So with that, what we continued is constant engagement with the talent, and constant and transparent conversation with the talent, and that was extremely important. Was it easy in virtual setup? My answer is no, because as professionals, we were very used to hiring people only after shaking hands, right? Or only after meeting people. Or I've heard stories that, okay, we like everything about the person, but why don't we call her to our office and have a face-to-face conversation? Now, pandemic was not giving us that opportunity, right? And we had to deliver. So I think we rose ourselves as human beings, became more transparent, had more empathy. We were now comfortable with the situation with the candidate is going through on the other side of the screen, and being empathetic and understanding it from that virtual platform was critical. What we also built is we transparently communicated with them about our organization, about the role and the expectation. And we built that relationship, which really helped us. So I would say pre-offer engagement, post-offer engagement significantly took the next leap. Even after offer, I think a more important part for us was engaging with them till the person joins, so that the connect, which was missing due to lack of physical interaction or a coffee catch-up, we could bridge that gap. And that's where we are thankful that candidates also trusted us as an organization, and we also could build that trust and transparency so that they can come and join with a leap of trust and faith, despite not meeting us, or despite not seeing our office or the physical workplace. So hats off to the candidates also, Priya. Everybody took a leap of faith of the organization per se. So that's how we could build, our recruitment. We continue to grow, we continue to expand. Very interestingly, we continue to expand, and that's where we continue to focus on newer skills as well, which were needed more than ever in a pandemic situation. So these were some of the parts of our hiring strategy.
Yeah, the pandemic has opened the new ways of hiring and sourcing and everything for the industry today. And also, as you mentioned, that there is no physical set of office to bind the candidate nowadays, since everything has gone virtual. So with that, I would like to ask you, how do you redefine your employer brands to attract these hybrid talents that we are talking about today in a virtual context?
So, as I said, for us, building trust and having a transparent conversation has always been paramount. So we continued with that. We were very explicit about our core values and our key leadership behaviors. We were very upfront. We could also demonstrate, how we live those values. And we actually ran live and learn programs within our organization, which also helped hiring managers to exhibit some of those leadership behavior. So that is one big piece. And from external hiring point of view, as candidates progress through interview processes, we really made up for lack of in-person interaction by creating all kind of virtual opportunities for them to engage with our employees and get to know our culture better. Earlier, just to give an example, instead of sequential interviewing, we started doing parallel interviewing as a panel, so that we can share more and we can best use the technology and time which we have. So we really learned that. We felt that virtual approaches can also be a competitive advantage because we can get more face time, we can have much more candid conversations, and that really opened wide array of employees, candidates, etc. for us, say including working mothers who might not leave the child and come for interactions, but this made an absolute easy for them. Professionals with more flexible lifestyles, and it really helped. And even broader international talent, people who were outside of India. So, we could really leverage the opportunity and build the opportunity to reach out to a wider set of talent. The third piece which we could do very well is now with virtual setups, it was easier for us to spread the meetings out. For instance, earlier when a person is traveling to office, you might have to do all the meetings together. Now here, first we made leadership more accessible to them. Second, we could really pan out the interactions with multiple set of stakeholders basis convenience of both the parties. So that really, really helped. And we couldn't have done it without the bedrock of right technology, which was absolutely there, right kind of tech interfaces, etc., which we continue to build and continue to use while we hire talent. So that's where we continue to redefine our employer brand and kept attracting hybrid talent in a virtual setup.
Yeah, very rightly said that it has opened a new doorway to attract a lot of new talent, which was earlier limited by the geography, which is no more existent in today's context. So with that, I would like to ask you, while hiring today, what kind of skills do you look for across functions? Is it technical skills, soft skills, behavior skill, or a combination of both?
So it has always been, the holistic picture. Because absolutely, if you are hiring for a particular function, you need those functional expertise and competence. But what is also important is the right leadership behaviors, which are personal behavior, which we also value as an organization. And a fit has to be found, and that's the key of hiring the right talent. Because at the end of the day, we are not only hiring the right talent, but we are also hiring the talent for future success of both the parties, not only organization, but also individuals. So we continue to work with our competency framework, which has both functional as well as behavioral and leadership skills. We followed very consistent evaluation and assessment process across level, which is absolutely a set and robust process which we have. With this, we could also have, as I said, much better panel interactions and much easier and free-flowing conversations, which further build a lot of trust and transparency. We also did a lot of campus hiring, for example, with our future leadership programs. And interestingly, we could leverage a lot of our global best practices in tech platforms to hire talent in India, which wasn't happening in past. And some of those tech interfaces, along with making the processes better in virtual setup, really helped us. And that's how we could really assess the best skills. And we never compromised on that and continue to bring best-in-class talent for JSK.
Thank you so much, Priyank, for sharing all the insights, actually. I'm sure audiences have great inputs to take away from this interview today, since you have mentioned so much about how the virtual setting has helped the organization in other level. Even though pandemic has come with its other shortcomings, but it has opened a lot of new doorways as well. Thank you so much for taking your time today.
Thanks, Priya. Pleasure interacting, and thank you for bringing all the right information always for us. Thank you to ED, and thanks to you as well.
Thank you so much.